Is alcohol abuse really such a big deal? Well, if I ask that, I'm sure you'd think, what is wrong with her? Of course it's a big deal. But even though we know just how big of a deal it is, many of us tend to overlook just how badly it can affect people and society as a whole. As a society, we need to reduce alcohol abuse and the amounts of deaths caused by it. Today, I will discuss alcohol use in history, alcohol's effect on the human body and mind, and the effect of alcohol abuse in today's society. Alcohol has existed for a long time. There are many records of alcoholic beverages in ancient societies, such as in ancient India, a fermented drink known as sura was made from distilled rice. Ancient Greeks created a popular drink called mead, which was made from honey and water. Ancient Native American civilizations in South America around the Andes had drinks called chicha, which were made from fermented corn or grapes or apples. These alcoholic drinks were used for recreational or ritual drinking. However, as time went on, alcohol began being used for other purposes. In 16th century England, alcohol was used for medical purposes and was often referred to as spirits. Towards the 18th century, the British Parliament passed a law that encouraged using grain to distill spirits. Due to this, cheap spirits appeared everywhere in the market. Since pollution and water contamination was common at the time, and due to a general lack of hygiene in England at the time, most people drank alcohol rather than water at meals, even small children. By the 19th century, alcoholism was widespread. Along with other reforms such as women's rights or black rights, there were calls for reforms and laws to restrict alcohol and its consumption. In the early 1920s, this was realized in the United States in the form of the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which prohibited alcohol. The Prohibition era was short-lived, however, because of national dislike of the law and due to people smuggling and illegally brewing alcohol anyway, despite the law condemning it. It was eventually repealed by the 21st Amendment in 1933, around the Great Depression and the beginning of World War II. Due to worldwide turmoil and increased negative feelings, many people began turning to alcohol to drown out their troubles. Alcohol addiction became a long-term problem, and as stated in the Oxford Journal, scientists in the 1950s discovered that people who suffered from an alcohol addiction were undergoing withdrawal symptoms when they didn't have alcohol. As told by Drug Free World, approximately 15 million Americans today suffer from alcoholism, and alcohol is involved with 40% of all deaths due to car accidents in the United States. Despite attempts to stop alcoholism, it still causes many problems to people, both physical and mental. Alcohol's effect on the human body and mind is an intense thing, especially when a person has consumed a lot of it. Alcoholism poses a dangerous threat to the human body, and it is important to avoid drinking too much alcohol in order to keep yourself healthy. The heart can become severely affected if too much alcohol is consumed. The liver and pancreas can become inflamed due to overdrinking. It's easier to contract diseases such as pneumonia or tuberculosis if the immune system is weakened from excessive drinking. According to the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, chances of contracting cancer, especially around the esophagus, mouth, and throat, can increase. In big dosages, alcohol has an immense impact on the brain. Here is an image of what the brain looks like when it is healthy and sober without alcohol in it. And here is what the brain looks like when there's too much alcohol in the body. A big difference. In big amounts, alcohol can block communication pathways, and it can make it harder to think clearly and move with coordination. Moods and behaviors change. People with mental illnesses such as depression are even more affected by alcohol. Whether a person is mentally ill or not, alcohol poses a threat to their well-being and can possibly lead to death. Alcohol plays a major role in today's society as well. Though it can be consumed as a party drink or used as a disinfectant, alcohol consumption has also unfortunately led to many deaths, usually accidental. Almost half of all car accidents and car accident-related deaths are connected to irresponsible alcohol use. Namely, one example being a driver of one of the vehicles drinking while they were driving. Alcohol also makes it hard for workers to stay focused on their work, which affects workers' productivity and causes trouble for the co-workers as well as for themselves. A lot of alcoholic workers don't even show up to their work because they can't find it in themselves to go. This hurts the economy as well as hurting the life of the alcoholic. Aside from trouble in the workplace, many alcohol addicts are prone to causing rifts in personal relationships due to their unhealthy lifestyles. Abuse and abusive behavior towards friends and family members while intoxicated, whether this behavior is physical, sexual, emotional, or verbal, this is a cause for many divorces and turned relationships. I have informed you about alcohol abuse by looking at its history, effect on the body and mind, and the effect of alcohol abuse on people in modern society. Based on these points, it is clear that we need to reduce alcohol abuse in order to help our society function in a better way that will not bring harm to others. Is alcohol abuse a big deal? To be frank, yes, it is. It's a very big deal. But together, we can help put a stop to it.